Well, it's day number 2 after the hurricane storm, and Katrina's still blowing. I had some people send me some videos of Kevin's Himes video back shot to me. Apparently I'm in desperate danger with the devil, and my friend is out to kill me, and I'm gonna be screaming before it's all over with. Sorry, I don't want you guys to have to look at my dog's rear end. She wants to be in the shot herself. My little, say hello. Say hello. This is my little girl. She is the most spirit-seeing dog I've ever had in my life. She lets me know every time there's an evil presence in the house. Every time. She's called the Whippet. She's a miniature greyhound. She's as fast as a bullet. She's got long legs, boy. She can sprint. I just appreciate all you guys caring for me, and it seems like maybe nobody else has ever stood up. I don't know. I still have a horrible cold, guys. But I want to thank all of you for your caringness, support, kindness, lovingness. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so mentally exhausted from this shit that I literally slept. I went to bed about 1 o'clock and didn't get up till 1 o'clock this afternoon, somewhere around there. It's so mentally exhausted, and then I woke up to more attacks on Michael. He just won't let it go. Ask yourself, why won't he let it just go? Why? I don't know. I'm not wearing glasses to be cool, guys. I look like hell. But thank you. Thank you so much, guys. You guys have helped pull me through this tough time. He's made a video. I encourage you to go watch his counter video. You guys know where to find him against me, warning me of trouble. First of all, I know I'm protected. I have enough faith personally that I know I'm protected by anything and everything. I've been through. I'm going to tell you guys a little history of me real quick, since you guys were so kind enough to chime in. I was raised without a mother and a father. I was raised by my grandmother. My father was a very abusive, sadistic man. I've had post-traumatic stress disorder since elementary school because of that man. I had bleeding ulcers in elementary school because I was afraid he was going to kill me every night. He beat and tortured me so bad that I would have out of body experiences because my mind and body couldn't handle it anymore. He was so sadistic he would make me eat my own vomit. I lived through a good 6 years of that torture every day. He used to shoot rubber bands in my eyes, put a rubber band on the tip of his finger, pull it all the way back to here, and let it go in my eye and tell me not to cry. How the fuck do you not cry when you have a rubber band shot in your eyeball? But believe it or not, after it's done enough, you learn to quit crying. That's why I have PTSD. I'm on disability, not for being crippled, that came later. I'm on disability myself for post-traumatic stress, depression disorder, anxiety disorder, from what I went through with my father. He was a very demented, cruel, sick individual. My mother abandoned me, but we spent some time together as a child. Then I grew up with my grandmother, who did the best she could, but she was multiple personality. She would physically and mentally abuse me as well. I've been tortured my whole life. I am a survivor, guys, and I keep pushing through every day. So this is nothing. This is nothing. I've been locked in closets in a complete blacked out room with the foil put over the windows, where I've had to defecate and live in a locked up closet where there was a slit about maybe that big under the door, where a little teeny bit of sunlight would come through and I could poke my little head under there and see that it was still day. I've been through so much. Let me put it this way. I live in Oklahoma, and at OU Medical, when I was 20-something years old, I had a really bad nervous breakdown. The whole top team of the Oklahoma University psychiatry team got together on me, just me, little old me, and said I went through as a child worse than most prisoners of war have ever had to go through, and I did it as a child. I've been in therapy for it years and years. I went to therapy 10 years in a row to prepare myself for, if I did have kids, that I would break that chain. When I got married and I had a stepson that came with the marriage. I didn't beat him. I was a good father, still am, and he loves me to death, and he is my son now. My son, my biological son, loves his daddy with all his heart. He doesn't fear me at all. He knows that daddy will bust his ass, but he's not scared of his daddy. He loves his daddy. So trust me, I've been through the worst of worst of worst of worst. Things that most people couldn't even fathom I've been through. Sick man, my father. Sick lady, my grandmother. My mother was just screwed up because of my father and my grandmother that raised me. On top of that, I had two uncles that would pop in and out at my grandmother's house that would use intravenous drugs in front of me as a child growing up after school. It's a wonder I even made it and walked across the stage, but I did. I sure did. I graduated. I got picked on at school because I started working my junior year selling shoes at an old shoe store you guys might remember called Kenny's. I went to a 98% black school from elementary through 12th. I had to wear a suit to school every day because I had to walk to work right after school, 11th and 12th grade. Most of the students probably thought I was a teacher. So all the black kids would gang up and beat me down quite often because I guess they thought I was a rich kid, which I wasn't. I didn't ever get to do anything as a child. I had no childhood whatsoever. None. I was a latchkey kid as well. I came home from school, uh, took care of myself. My grandma was kind of like the lady on Mommy Dearest with cleanliness. She would literally swipe her fingers over the kitchen cabinets or the furniture, and if it had dust on it, she would beat me with a fly swatter, the old metal fly swatters, or hit me over the head with the blunt end of a butter knife. She was very mentally abusive as well. I have her ashes sitting right over there, about 6 feet from me. But she got me away from my dad, who would have eventually killed me, so I owe her that. She did save my life. And yes, I did love her. But guys, this isn't nothing to me. I've been through so much worse. You can't even imagine what I've been through. Life's always been hard for me. Always. The night I was born, my father was kicking my mother in the stomach with a pair of steel-toe boots. That's what induced the labor, and I was born so premature my eyes weren't even completely developed yet. By the time I was able to even come home, I was so teeny tiny. My mom wore a size, I believe, 4.5 shoe, women's, and I was so tiny that was my crib. I was malnutrition because my father was so sadistic. He would lock up all the food when my mother was pregnant, lock the cabinets and the icebox shut with chains to starve her, just to be sadistic. When my mother told me she got home from the hospital, my dad took a knife, ripped out her stitches from down below, shoved about 4 or 5 Alka-Seltzers down below, took a pair of my mother's nylon hose and raped her with it, right next to me in the crib. So that's how my life started out. My mom left me with that monster, and I'll never know why, because she's gone. The only time I would get to see my mother is when her and my stepfather would get into an argument, and he was a drunkard as well. And she would come and stay with my grandma, and she would come stay a week or two, and I was in total heaven. I had my mom because that's all I ever wanted. I don't know why I'm telling you guys all this. I just want you to know that I'm strong. And it helps to get it out. It's real healing for me. I've had professional psychiatrists break down professionals and transfer my case to somebody else because they couldn't handle hearing any more of my story. I've been told by many people I should write a book about my story, that they would make a movie on me. I know they would. Uh, I've thought about it, but the world doesn't need to know how sick. It's just probably better some things left unsaid, some of it. But some of it comes out. I have flashbacks all the time. I've forgiven my father and my whole family, but it doesn't mean I have to forget. I did share some of this information with Kevin, and he actually mentioned that on Facebook that I spilled my guts and fucking I thought he was my friend, and I regret telling him a fucking thing now. One time in particular, um, my dad did serve 4 tours in Vietnam. 4. But that's no excuse. So did a lot of other people and come home and raise their kids okay. I'm sure it did fuck him up quite a bit, but still. Uh, I lived in filth. He had he was mean to his dogs. He was mean to everything. Guys, it was like I grew up in hell. There was feces all over the floor when I was a child from dogs. They wouldn't even take the time to pick it up. It was a disgusting environment. There was roaches so bad everywhere they would crawl on me at night in my sleep. It was horrible. Uh, One time in particular, my dad shot a squirrel in the backyard and skinned it and was holding it like a baby and squeezing it so hard its eyeballs popped out. And then he looked down at me and said, "Son, this looks just like you when you were a little baby." Then he took it in the fucking house, cooked it, and made me eat it. And I can still taste the fucking fur because he didn't skin it good enough. He's put a gun in my mouth and pinned my head to a hardwood floor. And I knew what a gun was because he shot them off in the house. He would put a tree stump on the kitchen table and blow it off in the house with a 12 gauge. He made me shoot my first 12 gauge when I was like 7, 8 years old. It dislocated my shoulder, and he continued making me shoot it. But guys, I could go on for hours and hours and hours and days of horror stories that I went through. So I just want you to know I am strong, okay? This ain't nothing but a chicken wing. And a chicken wing ain't nothing but a bird, you know? So thanks for all your support. I've always been